I didn't understand the concept of idolatry of relationships, but I understand it now. I'm seeing women date men I know and they know they got no business dealing with.
Extra toxic.
Like, no one is perfect. We all can change, but not being perfect isn't the same thing as being a problem.
You don't want a sister that's desperate for marriage, and you can see it in her interaction with you, and y'all just met.
One thing about an idol, we like to put our hands on. We're not made to be worshiped.
Yeah.
God is who we're supposed to worship. I want you to remember Ishmael. I want you to remember Hagar. I want you to remember what happened when Abraham and Sarah said, hey, I'm going to settle.
When was the last time you made God your priority? And I don't mean in that 10-minute devotional that you did this morning. Has your desire for marriage been louder than your desire for Him? If so, you're not the only one. We've been there. I've been in that same boat myself. So many of us are praying for a godly spouse, but settling for toxic relationships just to avoid being alone. We rationalize red flags with nobody's perfect, but not being perfect is not the same thing as being a problem. And this is where real talk meets biblical truth. My name is James, and with my wife Briana, we create Christian content for singles that help you spot the traps of modern dating culture, like hookup culture, polygamy, idolizing relationships, and walk in wisdom as you prepare for a kingdom marriage. In today's topic, we unpack a very important issue that Dr. Serita Lyons from Epiphany Fellowship Church in Philadelphia brings up. And that's how idolizing marriage affects how Christian women date, and why settling for dysfunction might be the reason why you put marriage higher than your love for the Lord. All right, with that being said, let's jump right into it.
I didn't understand the concept of idolatry of relationships, but I understand it now, especially as I'm deeply entrenched around a lot of women and I see kind of how these women date and who they're willing to date and what the standards they're willing. I mean, you talk about, I'm seeing women date men that I know and they know they got no business dealing with.
Extra toxic.
Like, it's a clear path to hell
Yeah.
with this dude.
Yeah.
And they doing it because they don't want to be lonely. This is the best they have. They telling themselves they just hit 30. Whatever the excuse
We
might
all
be.
can change. You know, we rationalize like no one is perfect. We all can change, but not being perfect isn't the same thing as being a problem. And so you may not be perfect, but that doesn't mean this person doesn't show clear signs of being problematic.
I mean, at the end of the day, we all know, and we see it. And there's probably someone watching now. You know, I know they were speaking primarily to the women, and I know there's women subscribed to the channel, and this could be you. It's like, hey, I am in my 30s, I am in my 40s or my 50s. I have this desire, right? You know, in your mind, it probably feels like how the Bible says it's better to marry than to burn. Like it probably feel like a burning desire for you. And it's like, you know, you and because of that, and as the years go by, similar to Abraham and Sarah, you will have that desire, okay, well, let me do it because God's taking too long or God's forgotten about me.
Yeah.
You know, but I want to when you have that moment where marriage has become an idol, right? At that time, it you know, that's kind of why I feel like Abraham and Sarah were struggling. It's like they begin to idolize this thing,
Yeah.
especially as they're waiting, they're waiting, they're waiting. It's like, okay, well, one thing about an idol, we like to put our hands on it, right? Like normally, like if you see the different times, like even I was just reading when Abimelech made the ephod and they went to look at it and to touch it and they wanted, you know, everything to do with it. It's like we're putting our hands on things that first of all um are that belongs to God, like that we're not made to be worshiped, right? Only God is made for our worship. Well, not necessarily made, but God is who we supposed to worship.
Yeah.
And I think that what you should do in those moments when it's like, hey, like that's me, and you're either talking to this guy or you know you are looking at this guy who you know, as he said,
Yeah.
he headed he got gasoline draws on, like on his way. You know what I'm saying? I want you to remember Ishmael. I want you to remember Hagar. I want you to remember what happened when Abraham and Sarah said, hey, I'm gonna settle.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna do it my way. Hey, God is taking too long. Let's see if this works. And I want you to remember how that turned out, right?
Yeah.
Anytime if you look Bible period where people decided, God's taking too long, I'm putting him on, it never works out
Right.
when we decide, hey, I'm gonna do it my way.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go my way. Remember David, remember Bathsheba.
Mhm.
You know what came out of that? They lost that child.
Yeah.
You know, it's always death and destruction.
Yeah.
Death of, and literally it begins to kill away at that normal and natural desire, right? Gets to the point where that desire becomes, instead of a desire, what does it become? An
Mhm.
idol.
I think too, that it doesn't have to just be the guy that's going straight with gasoline. You're going
Yeah, I
straight to hell with
know.
gasoline draws on.
Yeah.
I think it's too, like, sometimes sisters will settle for the guy that, oh, he's just Christian enough.
Yeah, he has potential.
He has potential. He
He could
says that
change.
he's a man of God, but
But
doesn't
he doesn't.
necessarily follow the Lord Jesus Christ.
Mhm.
Um, or I mean, he could be a follower of Christ, but at the same time, he's not your husband because there's things about him that it's like, well, are you really making a genuine connection, or is this a bond that you're sharing based off of trauma?
And I,
You know what love is.
Hey, ladies. So, if you are looking for a way to grow in your faith, if you're looking for a book that can partner alongside of the book of the Bible, I recommend you reading Church Girl by Dr. Serita Lyons. We went through this book for almost half of a year with a group of women at our church, because Dr. Serita Lyons is over our women's ministry at our church. And when I tell you, this book will literally be like Jesus and therapy in a book. It touched on so many different things historically about women in the Bible, and even women who I had never heard of, but have taken their faith seriously and left a mark on this world. So I encourage any woman that's watching, if you're a believer, if you're serious about your faith, if you want to grow stronger with the Lord, if you want to gain more tools, if you want to just learn, okay, what does it mean? I'm a church girl. What does that even look like? What does it mean to be a woman of God, a woman of faith, a woman that loves his word, a woman that walks by his spirit? I recommend this book. And right now, y'all, Amazon is doing the Prime Day deals. So I'm encouraging y'all to click the link, our affiliate link in the description below, and get Church Girl today. You will be blessed and you will not regret it. And I think too, I like how you said that he's not God's best.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and I'm gonna say it again, I'm gonna keep saying it, because our goal here is to encourage, equip, and empower Christian singles for a kingdom marriage.
Mhm.
And so one thing about it is, when you choose, sister, my sisters who are on here, or even my brothers, when you choose, you can only choose, as he's saying, based off of your present
Yeah.
and your past, because you don't know your future.
Right.
But when God picks your spouse, he's picking based off all of it, and
Yeah.
ultimately based off of who you are becoming.
Yeah.
God knows your future. For instance, I look at our marriage.
Mhm.
God knew
He
my
knew.
background in service.
Yep.
Like, I've continuously found myself in a place where I'm serving someone or
Yeah.
helping someone, from
And
my
that's-
grandma who was paralyzed, and the list goes on and on. I'm a special education teacher,
Mhm.
when it comes to my occupation. And so that requires a lot of service. Like, you
Yeah.
have to be humble in that. And now we're in a situation where we're serving his father.
That's the
But
first. That's the first thing I knew about you. Like that's the first thing that I noticed about you that stood out, was that, wow, you like to serve. And it wasn't until, like, I began to study you, because that's one thing other brothers don't spend enough time doing, is that they don't spend enough time in that, like, talking, even like in the dating phase, like, you're not doing enough studying of her. It's just, oh man, I'm quick to jump into the next thing, or you quick to jump into access in places which you shouldn't have access to. But taking the time to study them, both men and women, taking the time to study each other and find out, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, they okay, they may even love the Lord, but it's like, are they the one that the Lord is calling you to? Giving you the grace to have for them, and they for you. Like, that was the one thing
Yeah.
that I noticed about you. And I was also going to say, um, that for the brothers, you don't want, see, because I've experienced this too. You don't want someone you don't want a sister that's desperate for marriage, and you can see it in her interaction with you, and y'all just met. Like if the sister that you meet and she's automatically just head over here's for you, oh man of God, this and man of God, and it's like you can sense the
The
desperation on her,
idolization.
like the idolization of like you, and just the idolization of just
Marriage and
marriage,
relationship
and
and
just
love.
you being, you know, a man that's a God-fearing man, but always puts you up here, but then never looks at your humanity. Now that's an issue.
Wow.
You wouldn't want to be with that type of person, because then all that's
Mhm.
going to do is that when she does eventually see, oh yeah, you love God, but at the same time, yeah, you got struggle just like the rest of us. Then all of a sudden you become the opposite
You
of
become the
everything that
ops.
she puts you up there to be.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know. And so um you always want to just, like I said, study the person, but at the same time, making sure that their walk with God is, and their walk with the Lord is something that, okay, they're walking it out daily. And it's not something that it's putting a pedestal on like anything, because women put a pedestal on, they, and they say, the women idolize marriage, but then men idolize just making money and just thinking that's gonna be the thing that's gonna sustain it. So it's like whatever you see them idolizing, um,
Mhm.
that's something that you want to just like, one, keep
Mhm.
a note of, but then two, like if you see it ain't changing, might want to back away.
Yeah. And I just want to say too, just to reiterate, God's best comes with tools
Yeah.
for your future. You can't equip somebody. You
No.
can't get somebody tools for something that you are not aware of. You
Yeah.
don't know your future. You don't know what will happen 3 years down the line, 5 years, 10 years, and so forth. And so it's really important, like extremely vital
Yeah.
that we allow God to lead us in this area. Like honestly our goal to, as we're building a community, of singles on this channel, we want to have a book study. And the book
Mhm.
that we want to study first is
Choosing
Choosing
God's
God's
best.
Best. Okay, because at the end of the day, yes, you will have some say, right? Your God is not going to force you to do anything, but you want to make sure that God is ultimately having a say in this area, because marriage is not for the weak.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want to make sure that hey, God put this together, because whom God puts together, let no
No
man separate.
man's.
Not who man put together,
What
who
the Lord.
God
Yeah.
puts together, who the Lord puts together. The covenant that the Lord establishes can no one break that apart.
Mm-mm.
Thanks for checking out the video. Why don't y'all do us a favor? Hit the like button and hit the subscribe button so you can join the Meaningful Monogamy team. Our goal is 1,000 subscribers and at least 100 likes on each video. Yeah, I said 100. And I know you guys can do it because I know you guys are watching, because about 90% of you guys that watch our videos aren't subscribed. So we appreciate you all for even checking out our videos, but go ahead and join the team. Like, share, and comment on each video so that the algorithm can do its thing and get this video out to more people. But if you like this conversation and want to go deeper into it, check out this video over here where we talk about how dating a non-believer could actually be more detrimental than just staying single. All right, see you guys over there.
You know what love is.